Today, we'll show you how to be a better Fade player, going over all of her abilities as well as practical tips on how to use them. Hey, what's going on guys? It's your host Sergeant Frost, and today we are going to be going through and breaking down how to be the ultimate Fade player. Fade has recently become one of the most picked initiator agents in both professional and competitive Valorant. Her versatility of having both two prowlers which act like drones, and a reveal that acts like a recon makes her an incredible pick to support an insta-lock jet. So without further ado, let's go over how you can dominate with Fade. Fade was the 5th initiator to be added into the initiator roster, and before her, Sova had been absolutely dominating the role. There's not been an agent that gets as much information as Sova, and as a result, he has been a staple of the meta untouched ever since the game launched. Fade's here to change that. She does everything Sova does, and on certain maps even better. Her in comparison more close range nature makes her a perfect pick for maps like Pearl and previously Bind. And Fade is well suited alongside picks like Wraith because of her lethal nade seize combo, more on that later. Fade's Prowler is a very strong angle clearing tool similar to Sova's Owl drone, and Fade's Prowlers can be quickly developed and followed compared to Sova's drone where you are vulnerable to the enemies coming from behind. But on some other maps like Icebox, it's preferred to have Sova as there are many more angles that Fade's dogs cannot clear due to their duration and lack of height versatility. Fade's signature ability is her Haunt. Fade's Haunt is an intel ability that she must equip in her hand before being casted. Her Haunt refreshes every 40 seconds after being thrown. Upon casting, she will throw a Watcher that activates as soon as it comes into contact with horizontal terrain, unlike most thrown projectiles that will naturally arc through the air when thrown until they hit terrain. The Watcher has a maximum airtime of 1.5 seconds. If the Watcher is still in the air after this time, it will immediately drop down vertically instead until it hits a horizontal terrain. Fade can reactivate the ability to cause this drop to happen on command. She can activate this drop by repressing the key to activate the Haunt. Upon contact with the ground, the eyes will rise back up and lash out. Any enemies seen by the reveal within a set radius will get highlighted and marked with the Terror Trail. This trail follows the enemies directly to where they are located. You can deal damage to the recon and destroy it, but if you aren't quick enough, it will still reveal you. The duration of the Watcher lasts for 2 seconds as soon as it comes into contact with solid ground, and Terror Trail on the other hand lasts for up to 12 seconds. If you decide to move though, the enemies will still see your trail, so just be careful and watch your back. Fade's Haunt is a great way to gain information at the start of the round to help your team know where the sneaky enemies are hiding and be able to rotate accordingly. But saying this, it is best to know where exactly you are throwing Fade's eye and what it sees. If you aren't precise with her recon, then there is a high possibility that one of the enemies is sneakily hiding in the corner out of range from the probe. To help with that, it's useful to have lineups like the ones we're about to show. And before we do, I quickly want to tell you that if you want to improve the fastest way, it can be extremely helpful to have a coach look at your game. They can point out any mistakes you might be making on Fade or any other agent, and they can teach you any secrets you may not know about. If you're interested, we offer coaching on ProGuides.com, and with our $8 subscription, you can even get access to guides made by pros and pro bootcamps that go over all the Valorant fundamentals you should know about. For the first lineup, we fly over to Pearl B long on attack. You have to get yourself into this corner and look up to the roof and line yourself up with this little slant on the roof. Once lined up, all you have to do is jump and throw the Haunt. Doing this will result in the eye landing right on top of the edge of the roof as shown. If done correctly, it will reveal most of the backside and both entrances to back halls along with everyone hiding sneakily on site. But be careful as enemies can still hide in Heaven, B-Link, or even in these places here. Next, we are rocketing over to A main on ascent. To do this one, you have to jump up onto the ledge on top of the wall. When you get to here, line yourself up with the pipe near the back edge of the wall as shown. Once you have done this, you have to just aim at the edge of the wall, run, and jump throw. This reveal will reveal any enemies hiding behind Dice and Generator along with anyone close to the right of main, and enemies who are close to the button. For the next two lineups, we slash through the jungles on Lotus. This is the newest map that has been recently added to Valorant's ranked and unrated queue. For this lineup, you need to just go to this point outside of the attacker's spawn. Line yourself up with this point on the wall, ensure that you are directly head on. After this, place your crosshair just slightly above this point of the building and simply jump throw. This should reveal all enemies that are rushing into C site. This is a great way to give your team some early round info to possibly rotate or push to another side of the map. For this final lineup, it's another defense lineup. Come to this spot on the map and go to this wall. Push yourself up against it as shown, line yourself up by holding the D and S until you just show this corner of the building. Next, aim your crosshair just above the middle bunch of these leaves and throw. The eye will reveal anyone that is close left, close to the button by the revolving door, and also anyone peeking out of the rock near the back. It will not cover anyone that is hiding behind the rock though, so be careful. Now that we've gone through some lineups with Fade's Haunt, do you think Fade is a better pick than Sova? I think Sova on most maps is still a good pick as his arrow is a lot easier to use and get information from compared to Fade's eye. On top of that, her eye is a much bigger target, so it's easier to shoot, and for maps like Icebox, there's a lot less edges that Fade's eye can sit on, compared to Sova's arrow, which has loads of walls to attach onto. But of course, Sova also really struggles on maps like Pearl and Split, so Fade definitely has a place, especially when you have lineups. What about you guys though? What do you think? Make sure to comment down below. Fade's Seize is primarily a crowd control ability that must be casted before thrown. Upon casting, she will throw a knot of raw fear that activates as soon as it comes into contact with horizontal terrain. Unlike most thrown projectiles that will naturally arc through the air when they're thrown until they hit terrain, Seize has a set timer, just like Haunt. If the knot or eye is still in the air after this time, they will immediately drop down vertically until it hits a horizontal terrain. The maximum Fade Seize and reveal can be in the air is for the same 1.5 seconds. And Fade can also reactivate the ability to cause this drop to happen on command, just like Haunt. Upon contact with the ground, the knot will wind up for a brief duration, sending out a wave from its location. The wave afflicts decay on any enemy it hits, though the decayed health will immediately start to be restored at irregular rates. Once the wave reaches its outer radius, any agents still within the range and in line of sight of the knot will be tethered to it. Your opponents will be stuck in the tether for 4.5 seconds, so you cannot escape. Only if you're Omen, because then you can just use a 100 credit ability to escape death and destruction. You didn't hear that from me though. Because of the ability to force people to stay in a 6.5 meter radius, it means that you are able to combine utility and ultimates to get some insane kills. For example, a very common combination at the moment is utilizing Fade Seize with Raze's paint shells. As shown, you can utilize this to get loads of kills. Another great example is when you use Fade Seize to cancel a bomb plant. If you combine this with a Sova ultimate, for example, you can cause havoc. As soon as you hear the tap, it's an easy seize, and hitting a Sova ultimate on a seize target is pretty doable, especially now that the opponents are on low HP. Prowler is primarily an intel ability that Fade must equip before casting. Upon casting, she sends out a cat-like Prowler. Clicking fire once sends the Prowler forward in a straight line in the direction of her crosshair, whilst holding fire allows her to control the direction in which the Prowler moves by moving her crosshair in the same direction. But be careful, if you let the Prowler roam free, you can't regain control of it. So if you want to clear multiple angles, you need to hold it. The creature will travel until its duration expires, which is 2.5 seconds, at which point it will dissipate, or until it detects an enemy agent or terror trail in its frontal vision cone, where it will pursue the agent or trail. Upon detecting someone, the Prowler will gain increased movement speed, moving even faster if it detects a trail compared to detecting an agent. Fade will no longer be able to manually control the Prowler if it begins a pursuit. Moving along a trail will reveal to Fade the exact identity of the enemy agent it's pursuing, and the trail will become grayed out, making it unable to be used by a second Prowler. Enemies can deal damage to the Prowler and destroy it by dealing 60 damage or about 2 hits with the Vandal. If the Prowler then gets into close enough proximity of an enemy agent, it will wind up for a brief duration before biting them, afflicting them with a near side effect that lasts for 2.75 seconds. If a trail the Prowler is pursuing either ends its track or expires before it can reach its target, the Prowler will then travel in a straight line once more until it either detects a new target to pursue or expires. Nightfall is Fade's ultimate ability. Fade's Nightfall is a deafen and decay ability that Fade must equip before casting. Upon casting, she will send a wave of nightmare energy forward. Any enemy agents hit by the wave will be deafened, afflicted by decay, and marked with a terror trail. The ultimate is 40 meters long and 24 meters in width. You are deafened and your trail is shown for a total of 12 seconds, so you can run but you definitely can't hide. The decayed health will immediately start to be restored at a constant rate after being applied. It takes 12 seconds for you to become full HP again, but if you receive damage as a result of this decay, then you will be affected afterwards. Fade is a very versatile, fun, and insanely effective agent for use in team play. Mastering Fade definitely isn't going to be happening overnight. Fade is a very technical agent that will take many hours to master. The more you play the game and rank up while playing Fade, the more knowledge you will gain on tips and tricks that will help you use her abilities better. There is so much that you can do with her Haunt, Prowler, and Seize that makes her a great agent to use in competitive, and if you combine learning her with Sova, you will be a master of the recon initiators in no time. Well guys, that wraps up our ultimate Fade guide. What agent do you want us to do next? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you liked the video and want to see more like it, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.